Good morning and welcome to a Thursday morning.
Yep.
Thought for the day on Thursday.
What's the date today? 21st. 20th of July.
Yes.
Yeah.
Welcome. We've got a fantastic reading today.
We have.
And Gemma's going to read it for us.
It's Esther 7 and I'm reading from the NLT. So the king and Haman went to Queen Esther's banquet. On this second occasion, while they were drinking wine, the king again said to Esther, "Tell me what you want, Queen Esther. What is your request? I will give it to you, even if it's half the kingdom." Queen Esther replied, "If I have found favour with the king, and if it pleases the king to grant my request, I ask that my life and the lives of my people will be spared. For my people and I have been sold to those who would kill, slaughter, and annihilate us. If we have merely been sold as slaves, I could remain quiet, for that would be too trivial a matter to warrant disturbing the king." "Who would do such a thing?" King Xerxes demanded. "Who would be so presumptuous as to touch you?" Esther replied, "This wicked Haman is our adversary and our enemy." Haman grew pale with fright before the king and queen. Then the king jumped to his feet in a rage and went out into the palace garden. Haman, however, stayed behind to plead for his life with Queen Esther, for he knew that the king intended to kill him. In despair, he fell on the couch where Queen Esther was reclining just as the king was returning from the palace garden. The king exclaimed, "Will he even assault the queen right here in the palace, before my very eyes?" And as soon as the king spoke, his attendants covered Haman's face, signalling his doom. Then Harbona, one of the king's eunuchs, said, "Haman has set up a sharpened pole that stands 75 feet tall in his own courtyard. He intended to use it to impale Mordecai, the man who saved the king from assassination." "Then impale Haman on it," the king ordered. They impaled Haman on the pole he had set up for Mordecai, and the king's anger subsided.
There you go. What a cheerful start to the day.
Story!
So we thought that in these Thought for the Days, lots of us always dig into passages and try and get a bit behind the meaning. But what we found at our youth group over the last term...
Yeah, since Easter.
Since Easter, as we've been going through the story of Esther, is that it's been so good to actually look at sort of the big picture of it and just read the story. It seems ridiculous to not dig into it and try and find any deep meaning, but it's been really good just to read the story.
Really fun.
And so we didn't think we'd share anything particularly revelatory with you today, but just that we found real encouragement from going through some of these lesser known stories in the Bible and just absorbing them and reading them for the fantastic stories they are. We can dig into them, we can get into nitty gritty in sermons and whatnot, but sometimes it's great to see what God does in the big picture. And so the reason we chose the NLT as well is because it's just a bit more of a normal translation. It sounds less like the Bible and more like a story. And so it just helps to kind of embody that. So,
I was about to say I don't have much more to add.
No. So I've written down some good stories that I like reading anyway. So something like, we know that popular ones of Joseph, Moses, Paul, or King David, but digging into some of these smaller characters like Esther, although lots of you will know the story, but characters like Nicodemus, who only appears a couple of times.
He's cool, I like Nicodemus.
Zacchaeus, Elisha.
Also cool.
Elisha's particularly good in one bit because there's some youths making fun of him because he's bald, and they say, "Hey, baldy," and take the mick out of him. And Elisha calls out a bear, that then mauls
the mother bear,
which then mauls these youths,
mauls these kids,
for taking the mick out of him. So that's a good story. And then others like Samuel, of course.
Yeah, well,
I like Samuel. Ruth, Joshua, one of Gemma's favourites, Nehemiah, or Timothy. Why not dig into these characters over the next couple of weeks and just see what God might be saying through their big stories.
Yeah, they're quite good.
Don't
have much more to add. Have a wonderful Thursday, and I'm sure we'll see you about this weekend.
See you soon. Bye.